Welcome to livingpianos.com and virtualsheetmusic.com. I'm your host, Robert Estrin. Today we have a viewer question, and the title of today's show is How to Add Harmonic Spice to Your Music. Connie asks, how do I get beyond the 1, 4, 5 chords in my improvisations of Christmas music? Well, this isn't just about Christmas music today. This is about all sorts of music. We're going to show you how you can add harmonic interest to your improvisations. Now, when Connie was talking about the 1, 4, and 5 chord, what does she mean by that? Well, very quickly, if you're in C major, if you build a chord on C, that's a 1 chord. Well, C being 1, 2, 3, 4, F becomes your 4 chord, and then G becomes your 5 chord. These are referred to as your primary chords. They are major triads, and you can harmonize almost anything with the 1, 4, and 5. So for example, let's say we're in A major. I'll establish the key, 1, 4, 5, 7, 1. So if you wanted to do a familiar song like On Top of Mount Smoky, or on top of Old Smoky, you'd have something like this with just those 3 chords. So we went from 4 chord to 1 chord. Now a 5 chord. And back to 1. So we just have 3 chords, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and the 1 chord in A major. Very simple. Well, what are some possible other chords you could put in there? The first thing to look for are what are referred to as the secondary chords. The secondary chords are pretty much the rest of them. 1, 4, and 5 are primary, so 2, 3, and 6 are your secondary chords. 7, not so much, because that's a diminished chord. The other 3 chords, your 2, 3, and 6 are minor chords. So once again, in A major, your 1 chord, your 2 chord is a B minor, your 3 chord is a C sharp minor, and your 6 chord is an F sharp minor. So where could you use those? Well, let's experiment a little bit. How about here? So we just learned that you can substitute a 2 chord for a 4 chord. You can even keep the same note in the bass if you want to. Instead of playing the 4 chord like this, you could actually put the B up here, which is basically an inversion of your 2 chord. Did you catch that? So substitute from a 4 chord to a 2 chord, but put the bottom note on the top, and it's almost the same as the 2 chord, as the 4 chord. They're very similar except for 1 note. Moving on, starting in. And we can go to a 6 now. So those are just very basic block chords in the left hand. To make your music sound fresh and more vibrant, you can actually voice differently, trying to get the chords with the right hand to put some distance between the bass and the rest of the notes, and you end up with this kind of sound. So these are just a couple of chords you can use to add color to your music. We're going to cover in future videos secondary dominants, diminished chords, and all sorts of other flavors to add spice to your music. Thanks so much for joining me, Robert Estrin at livingpianos.com and virtualsheetmusic.com.